Urgent Dirty Birds fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest Dirty Birds news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Atlanta Falcons' recent NFL draft decision should have fans concerned as the 2025 NFL draft continues to draw closer. Fans continue to speculate in what direction the Atlanta Falcons will choose to go. It is clear the team should have their attention on a rebuilding defense that has a myriad of needs. However, this is the same front office that drafted Michael Penix Jr. weeks after signing Kirk Cousins. Atlanta has been unpredictable with their draft approach, a trait fans should hope doesn't continue this offseason. Whether it is safety, corner, or edge rusher, the Falcons cannot afford to ignore the clear defensive needs. It is noteworthy that the team opted to host Texas tackle Kelvin Banks Jr. in a private workout. Atlanta shouldn't consider adding to the offensive line with the alarming list of remaining defensive needs. Fontenot and the Atlanta front office choosing to bring in a potential replacement for right tackle Caleb McGarry would be typical. Since the current regime has taken over, the team selections have been entirely offensive players in the first round. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Michael Penix Jr. were all impact selections that haven't had a chance at winning. This is due to the Falcons still being completely dependent on their offense. As great as Robinson, London, and Penix have been, the team cannot consider looking at any offensive players. Atlanta's goals should simply be to add draft picks in any trades that present themselves and focus on taking the best defensive player on the board. Against Washington and Carolina with the playoffs on the line, the Atlanta defense didn't have a prayer of getting a stop when the game mattered most. The lack of pass rush and cohesion in the secondary were clear. These are issues the Falcons have elected not to fix with their underwhelming free agency approach. This leaves the entire offseason hinging on your draft class and ability to find impact defensive pieces. Atlanta opting to look at any other position locks in another frustrating season, just as they are watching in 2024. Even in an offensive league, if you don't have a defense capable of getting key stops, you're not winning anything of note. Something Fontenot and the Atlanta front office seem unaware of after 4 years of frustration. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Dirty Birds news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. As Atlanta's offseason drags on, the biggest concern remains how the team plans to fix the pass rush. A first-round pick won't be enough to address the lack of depth and provide a star option. The best path for Atlanta will likely be to draft an edge rusher, while also looking for a mix of veteran options that can easily rotate. The market still has plenty of talented options that the team can bring in on cheap deals. What's missing from the market is an option that Atlanta can sign and count on for double-digit sacks. The best path for the team right now is to look for experienced veterans who can boost the team's rotation options, starting with a former Super Bowl MVP arguably. Calais Campbell was Atlanta's best pass rusher heading into the 2023 season. Campbell continues to contribute consistently and would be a great prospect for a reunion with the Falcons. What could prevent that from happening is that Campbell will likely want to sign a prospect if he wants to continue his playing career. Atlanta Falcons fans will love this report from Daniel Jeremiah. The Falcons didn't make any notable offseason moves. As one NFL executive described it, the club swapped average for average in free agency. Drew Delman, Grady Jarrett, Matthew Judon, and Justin Simmons are the notable departures, and Terry Fontenot has essentially replaced them with Ryan Newazul, Morgan Fox, Leonard Floyd, and Jordan Fuller. It didn't move many Falcons fans, and it's put more pressure on Fontenot to nail the draft. It's the last opportunity to dramatically improve the roster outside of a Hail Mary, like a Trey Hendrickson trade. Thankfully, this might just be what the doctor ordered. Atlanta currently owns the 15th pick, but this cycle has been described as a starter draft, some general managers and head coaches told Daniel Jeremiah. I've talked to several GMs and HCs over the last week. Everyone seems to agree this draft is a starter draft. Maybe not a ton of star power, but your goal should be to come away with 34 solid starters. They are out there. Go find them, DJ tweeted. Unfortunately, the Falcons only have 5 picks in this year's draft after the Kirk Cousins tampering mess and the Matthew Judon trade. Now more than ever, Fontenot could really use more draft capital. Whether that's accomplished by trading down in the first round, moving Cousins or Kyle Pitts, or some other avenue, Atlanta's goal should be to come away with 34 solid starters, as DJ put it. As currently constructed, there really shouldn't be many positions that aren't on the table for the Falcons. On offense, Nuzil could use competition, and finding Michael Penix Jr.'s long-term blindside shouldn't be overlooked. On defense, there literally shouldn't be a single position that is not under consideration. I see some Falcons fans saying that a guy like Malaki Starks is off Atlanta's board because of the Fuller signing. Do you know how ridiculous that sounds? A one-year deal for an average safety, at best, is going to keep the Falcons from drafting. A potential star in Malaki Starks? Give me a break. Edge rushers, interior defensive line, linebackers, safety, and cornerbacks should all be possibilities for the Falcons. Falcons heavily linked to star pass rushers in NFL draft. The Atlanta Falcons 2025 NFL Draft Haul is expected to start with a pass rusher, and Marshall's Mike Green and Texas A&M Shamar Stewart are two favorites. Atlanta Falcons head coach Raheem Morris said at the NFL owners' meetings it's difficult to say the Falcons will draft an edge rusher early because he alone doesn't control the draft. But the overwhelming expectation, especially when considering team needs and player fits, remains that the Falcons will pursue a pass rusher in the first round. And according to ESPN's Jordan Reed, two players are emerging as favorites. The Falcons are not shy about taking the best player available on their board regardless of position. See last year's Michael Penix Jr. pick, but an AFC scout told me last week he'd be stunned if they don't take a defensive lineman, Reed wrote. There will be plenty of options at number 15, with edge rushers Mike Green Marshall and Shamar Stewart Texas A&M being heavily linked to Atlanta since the Combine. The 6'3", 248-pound Green was one of college football's best overall defenders in 2024. In addition to his nation-leading 17 sacks, he finished tied for 9th with 59 pressures, and he was second in the FBS with 32 run stops. He earned All-American honors from several outlets and was the Sun Belt Conference Player of the Year. Green, who didn't test at the NFL Combine and only participated in select events at his pro day, clocked a 6, 85-second three-cone and a 4, 25-second time in the 20-yard shuttle. His three-cone time would have been the best among all defensive linemen and linebackers at the Combine, while his 20-yard shuttle would have ranked second at both positions. There are, however, off-field questions Green has been forced to answer publicly. Green has faced two separate cases of sexual assault allegations. In high school, the police did its due diligence before closing the case. After the 2022 season, Green left the University of Virginia after being suspended due to an anonymous report of assault. He said he hasn't been questioned about it by the police. At the NFL Combine, Green vehemently denied the allegations. The Falcons sent a heavy contingency to Green's pro day March 24th, and if the Williamsburg-Vainachie native passes Atlanta's off-field checklist, he'd be a significant addition to the team's pass rush. The same is true for Stewart, a chiseled 6'5", 207-pound defensive lineman who lit up the 2025 NFL Combine after running a 4. 59 40-yard dash and notching a 40-inch vertical jump. However, he's faced questions about his production throughout the pre-draft process. Stewart recorded only 4 5 sacks, 5 in each season during his 3-year, 37-game collegiate career. He tallied 11 tackles for loss, half of which came in 2024. When speaking at the NFL Combine, Stewart said, "Production is overrated." Texas A&M. Head coach Mike Elko, who addressed reporters at the Aggies Pro Day, March 27th, offered a deeper response that provided context to Stewart's numbers. "I don't think you can just look at sack numbers," Elko said. "I think I read somewhere he had about 1/3 the amount of one-on-one pass rush opportunities this year because of double teams, chips, 7-man protection, screens. People went against those kids with a plan of how to not allow them to impact the game." The 21-year-old Stewart had an official 30 visit with the Falcons after the NFL Combine. Atlanta, which owns the number 15 overall pick in the first round, has been a common pairing for Stewart in mock drafts. Stewart has a wealth of traits that offer hope about his upside as a pass rusher. He often flashes speed-to-power ability, and he can condense pockets with the jolt in his hands. But the Miami native lacks a consistent pass rush plan, and he doesn't have much depth to his arsenal. On rushing downs, Stewart uses his frame and strength to set a quality edge, though he's proven he can hold up at the point of attack on the interior as well. The Falcons finished second to last in the NFL with 31 sacks in 2024, and Morris wants to keep adding to a unit that signed standout edge rusher Leonard Floyd to a one-year, $10 million contract in free agency. "I think you can have enough edge," Morris said. "I think that's got to be something you're always constantly doing. It's a different position than quarterback when you only play one. On the edge, you play a bunch of different people. You get a chance to roll those guys around. You can make the movement you have to make necessary to go out there and try to win matchups. And I think you want to continue to add those guys as much as you can." Perhaps Green or Stewart will be the team's addition when the draft begins April 24th in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And now, Dirty Birds fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Dirty Birds. I'll be back any moment with more Dirty Birds news. ATL. ATL. Rise up.